Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. This is Renegades React, and we are going to be reacting to Channel Awesome's The Nostalgia Critic, and this is Conan the Barbarian.
One of your favorite movies of all time.
We are going to explore the riddle of steel.
No.
And hopefully Doug Walker will not kill my mother and my father and my people.
My crumbs balls, I shall revenge thee.
I freaking love this movie.
It's so good.
It's amazing. Whenever this movie is on TV, I have to stop what I'm doing and watch it.
It's like an unwritten rule.
I love it. It's just
okay.
And honestly, not even just the movie. Like, I'm a huge fan of all of Howard's stuff, all the Conan stories. Love reading them. Love this one. Just
for me, when we did the top 11 movie themes, and this came out as number 2, it was just like, because I was just like, I was wondering if they would have this on here, and then when they brought it up, I was just like, and when Doug brought it up, I was like, oh gosh, Micah, and I saw you over there, as you was like, yes.
And now here's something interesting. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I might be wrong on this. So don't. I'm pretty sure that they used the song "The Riddle of Steel" in an Ocarina of Time commercial.
I think so as well. I think you might be right.
Yep. And combined with the fact that the bad guy in this, his helmet is Midna's helmet from freaking Twilight Princess.
This movie influenced so much.
Yeah. No, you're
and
not
honestly,
wrong.
like, Conan the Destroyer is just a straight up D&D movie. Like, it's like we're gonna form a party. We've got a barbarian. We've got a monk. We've got a thief. We got a wizard. Like,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you see, you also said that Skyrim owes a lot to this.
Sure.
Boy,
Oh, absolutely.
doesn't it? Oh man.
Oh man.
Man.
So okay, shall we?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's dive right in.
Oh.
Before the time when Conan was known as a great warrior who battled the executive douchebags by leaving the Tonight Show so its glorious legacy could be preserved. P.S. You got balls. There was another Conan, played by then relative newcomer Arnold Schwarzenegger. I am the Nostalgia Critic, doing a parody of the great and powerful Mako.
Yep.
Mako, yeah.
Who stars alongside Arnold in these films. It is a time of high adventure, swords and sorcery, and great epic silliness. This is the Conan movies.
Yep. Oh man.
Large in scale, small on intelligence, the Conan movies were based off of the great stories written by Robert E. Howard. But from what I understand, they have almost nothing to do with these movies, so we will instead look at the films themselves. They are
Still
filmed before one-liners.
To be fair,
before
Howard did
great
work with John
explosions,
Milius on the
and before
screenplay.
dental
Well, there you
work
go.
to fix that great big gap in between your teeth.
Robert E. Howard?
I'm pretty sure.
Howard died in the 30s, dude.
Did he?
Goofiness.
So
I think
Okay,
Oliver
I'm not
Stone
gonna do
did.
that impression the whole time. But we are gonna take a look at these movies. And our first film, Conan the Barbarian, starts off, oddly enough, with a Friedrich Nietzsche quote.
yeah.
Well, give him credit. I'm certainly gonna be telling myself that while watching this movie.
Between the time when the ocean...
Made that joke already.
The
Next.
reviews on this are terrible for Rotten
Hey, don't
Tomatoes.
skip Mako.
So we start off with Arnold Schwarzenegger as a little child. No, child! As his father gives him some helpful advice.
No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts.
Yeah, in the writing credits, it's Robert E. Howard, John Milius, Oliver Stone, and Edward Summers uncredited. Maybe it's just because they based it off of his work.
I bet your trusty sword
Yeah, he
wouldn't
died
do
in
much
36,
there,
so-
would it? Maybe you should have considered
'Cause
the
he's in the
strength of
credits, I
numbers
remember.
strategy.
Yeah.
We are the knights who say,
So as Conan's father is killed and the knights play Whack-A-Villager, his smoking hot mother tries to protect him from the evil James Earl Jones.
Oh man.
White James Earl Jones.
Yep.
Don't put the sword down, honey.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Well, gee, when you put it like that. So it looks like he's gonna leave her alone and let her fight another day. Psych! Have Hitler!
That was a good shot.
That's a cool shot.
Yes, I enjoy taking a long time killing that person for no particular reason. I sure hope her son doesn't build up a vengeful rage and dedicate his life to destroying me while also working out his gigantically large pectoral muscles. Knock on wood.
So all the children from the village are forced into labor, which is strange because the men and women would obviously be much stronger and more valuable, but what do I know? Maybe they work for less. And where exactly do they take these children?
Oh,
Yes, Conan,
no.
you will be spending the rest of your life pushing this wheel. Years and years of torturous mayhem will go by.
Get
and you'll
super
be asking
buff.
yourself, why am I pushing this wheel? You will never get an answer to this question. However, it does seem that your muscles will spontaneously quadruple in size, all from pushing this relatively pointless but also very lovely wheel. So Conan grows big and strong as he literally spends several decades pushing this damn thing. Do you think he enjoys it by now? I mean, good lord, a lifetime of doing nothing but working out? What does that do to a guy?
It's as satisfying to me as coming is. You know, as
yep.
having sex with a woman and coming. I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym, I'm getting the feeling of coming at home, I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, so I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right?
Good for you.
Moving on.
Conan, the comer.
As the rest of the wheel pushers seem to disappear, somebody finally comes to get him.
Hey.
No, I said give the children candy, not have them push a gigantic wheel in a circle continually for the rest of their lives. How did you even hear that?
You get that so wrong.
Sit here. Push wheel. Sit here. Push wheel? No, all I understand is wheels. Please, do you have a wheel? May I push it?
Conan, I suppose, is bought and forced into fighting for money. And I guess all that wheel pushing paid off because even though he's never had any combat training,
He's super
apparently
buff.
a really good fighter and keeps winning event after event.
He was taken to the east. A great prize. Language and writing were made available.
How to speak with an Austrian accent. This scroll is very informative.
But over time, Conan becomes angrier and angrier, and I guess his master is afraid that he might have created a monster.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
There you go.
Very good, Conan. You get a gold star.
Thank you, sir. May I have a wheel now?
Shut up about the wheel! So his master sets him free to wander aimlessly as he comes across some sort of burial site.
Don't trust them, they're Draugr.
Not great, he's in the kingdom of the crystal skull.
Don't do that.
Don't mention
Ah yes, Crumb. Crumb, I suppose, is a warrior god who helped discover the invention of steel, and is also the winner of the God with the Stupidest Name competition. So after he grave robs beloved Crumb, he comes across
god
a
of the
woman in the
Kuo-toa
middle of the
from
hills.
D&D.
As it appears, she may have some information on the man who killed his family.
One who would crush the snakes of the earth.
Snakes? Did you say snakes?
Why did it have to be snakes?
What is it you seek?
A symbol. Perhaps on a shield. Two snakes coming together.
Coming in the gym, I'm getting the feeling
God,
of
not
coming
again.
at home. I'm
Again
getting
with
the feeling of
this.
coming-
But in order to find the treacherous villain, he needs some directions. Unfortunately, she tells him that there's a horrible price to pay. Bonking the living shit out of her. Oh, the horror!
Crossroads of the world. You will find what you want.
Wow, how come more men don't ask for directions? This is wonderful. Oh no, she's pulling me into Avatar. The visuals will be stunning, but the story will be absolute bullshit.
Well.
Okay. So after that, he comes across a thief named Subbatai, who says he can help him find James Earl Jones by traveling across the land.
Yup.
Oh, yeah.
Behold, we have reached Jerusalem. Wait, what?
So they go into a few towns, get drunk, he punches a camel.
That camel deserved
They
it.
even come across another thief, who joins them on their quest.
Sandal Bergman.
Ooh, I like to ask her for directions.
They're unfortunately captured, though, by King Osric, played by Max von Sydow. He, I suppose, has a task for them. He promises them riches if they can bring back his daughter, who's been brainwashed by James Earl Jones.
She follows him as a slave, seeking for the truth of her soul, as if I could not give it to her.
The power of Crumb compels her! Conan dresses up in his silliest outfits and decides to fight Jones alone. He rides off into the wilderness and sets camp in some sort of Stonehenge ripoff. What? The horses just died with them? How the hell is that possible?
Don't worry, Wilbur. We'll catch those bad guys. What? You dead? Oh, okay. I'll just stand here until starvation.
So it turns out James Earl Jones is the head of a brainwashing cult, which is pretty much like Burning Man if everybody dressed up like Tylenol. But Conan is spotted and brought before our villain.
Steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. Look around you. There, on the rocks, that beautiful girl. Come to me, my child. That is power. Crucify him.
Wow.
Too Jewish.
Wow.
Forgive them, Crumb. They know not what they do.
Since when does Crumb forgive anyone?
Oh, to make things worse, he's nailed up right next to Eric Idle.
Always look on the light side of life.
But the other two thieves come to save him as they take him to a wizard who will try to bring him back to life. And wouldn't you know it, he's played by Mako.
Yup.
So he gives him a Mako-over, as apparently this is supposed to bring him back to life somehow. Alright, what's an 8-letter word for an uncouth person in the Dark Ages? Begins with B. Anybody?
Barbarian's
Anybody,
9
but
letters.
Begins with B. So Arnold Sudoku seems to work as Conan is brought back to life. But there's still the business of getting the king's daughter back, as they try to break into the castle and get her out.
Ha! Again with this!
They dress up in their
It
Orlando
would
makeup,
take a
but still
miracle.
doesn't seem to camouflage anything, as they sneak into the palace where some sort of strange orgy is going on.
It's always a strange orgy with these doomsday cults.
Is there ever, like, a not strange orgy? Really?
There was a...
And now he's a snake.
Well, that's just silly. Does he do this often? Is Thursday night just snake night?
My
No time to question logic now. We
No.
got a princess to snake. They take her away from the palace as James Earl Jones finally comes to his senses.
Guys, I told you to watch the place. Well, I was a snake. Can't a guy just be a snake for 5 minutes without something going wrong?
So he gets out his bow and, I'm totally serious here, he fires a snake at them.
Okay, he's weirded out by that,
I can
considering
see
he
you
just
have sort
turned
of
into a giant
motif
snake.
going on here, but you don't have to use it for everything. Just use a friggin' arrow. I mean, what? Do you brush your teeth with snakes? Comb your hair with snakes? God help us if he actually has a snake condom. That'd just be insane.
Yeah.
So the woman sadly dies as the rest of them get ready for the big battle. They do this by setting up the Flintstone equivalent of Home Alone traps.
Yep.
But they work.
But they work.
Crom, I've never prayed to you before.
All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom.
Bad news, I'm afraid. Your prayer accidentally got intercepted by R. Crumb, the perverted cartoonist.
I was sexually attracted to Bugs Bunny, and I cut out this Bugs Bunny off the cover of a comic book and carried it around with me.
So grant me one request.
Wow.
Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Wow, that's like the most backhanded prayer I ever heard in my life. Give me what I want, and if not, fuck you. Do you think he'll just pray for everything like that from now on?
Yep.
Oh, Crumb, please let my Happy Meal contain either Alvin, Simon, or Theodore from the Alvin and the Chipmunks Collector's series, but do not put in any Chipettes. I do not like the Chipettes. God help you if there's any Chipettes in there! If there is a Chipette, then to hell with you! So with his spear magic helmet, he fights off all the bad guys.
Spear magic helmet. Big hammer. Good.
You done messed up.
Gah! Fell for the oldest trick in the book. Hitting a helmet, which I thought was you, triggering a rock, activating a spear that stabbed me in the chest. Damn, you're good.
Ah, yes. The Rube Goldberg barbarian
From the grave,
tactic.
apparently.
Do you want to live forever?
What?
And by forever, I mean a brief cameo in the sequel. So he wins the battle as all the bad guys flee back to the palace. They snap the princess to her senses as she agrees to show Conan how to sneak into the fortress and finally kill James Earl Jones.
Burn you the way to paradise!
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Somebody failed their sneak roll.
My child, you have come to me, my son. Who gave you the will to live? What will your world be without me?
Better.
My son.
Well, gee, when you put it like that, fuck you!
That'll work. Does this work like the Medusa? I mean, he turned into a snake. Wait.
The roll on that is impressive.
So I guess this somehow breaks the spell they're all under. I didn't even know they were under a spell, as Conan burns down the palace and builds up some hype for the sequel.
In time, he became a king by his own hand. This story shall also be told.
Very poorly in Conan the Destroyer.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Well, you know what our next one's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next
I absolutely love these movies.
Yeah.
They're good. They're real good.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, someday we have to do I don't know if it like a short film or something, like a Conan-esque kind of short film.
Oh, I would love to do something like that.
Dude, yes.
And I was gonna say, Micah, you the designing man. You're the craftsman, and I think you should also be our barbarian.
Yep.
Because I was gonna say, you letting your hair down, I could just hear. I get literally.
Fun fact: it flows in the breeze on its own.
Yes, it does. It's like Troy Polamalu's with head and shoulders.
Yep.
And it's like
he doesn't even need that. It just does it on its own.
It's like Brett Kiesel's beard with head and shoulders. It's like who used all my head and shoulder shampoo? Oh, it was Heinz.
Wasn't me.
Seriously, you lying fool.
No, I think that would be super fun. Oh man,
dude, I want to do this.
I do too. Honestly, with everything that's happening, guys, I mean, I'd love to just do stuff like that, just to man. You see, with all that's going on with us, with Micah having his own workspace, him pretty much being free to do whatever he wants.
Well, save for my job being constantly in the way.
Yeah.
That pesky job.
Yeah, you should just get fired like I did.
I have considered it in the past couple of weeks.
Well, they've worked you like a dog.
It's true.
It's been a little annoying the past couple of weeks. I have considered it.
Ah, boy.
Yep, I gotcha.
So, yeah, it.
You should just get fired like that. That's
That's-
sorry, I thought that was funny.
No, that is funny. I like
Yeah,
that joke.
I can laugh about that.
Funny joke. Sorry.
Anyway.
Yeah, my phone's just like,
Yep.
I do not approve
It's
of that
blowing
joke.
up over there.
Yeah, phone does not approve of joke.
But, man.
Conan the Barbarian, I mean, in terms of the look that Conan had, in terms of how Howard had Conan envisioned with illustrations and everything, Arnold, in terms of the physique, fits it to some degree, but the look, the looks.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Arnold was. I mean, this was.
Giant tanned.
Right, it's just the physique. They were like, man, we have to get this guy in this movie because.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't really established as Arnold at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I guess I got really confused about that because Howard was always in the writing credits because it says written by Robert E. Howard and John Milius, and I never really paid attention to the timelines. But yeah.
Well, I mean, Robert E. Howard,
obviously they credited it.
Yeah, because he helped create the character and all of that. So,
Well, I'm currently there. It is. I'm currently Wikipediaing it.
Yep.
Screenplay Oliver Stone.
Oh, okay.
Based on Conan the
Conan
Barbarian
by Robert E. Howard. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Man.
Because I swear he was in the writing credits at the beginning of the movie, but maybe I'm mistaken.
No, it's okay.
It's happened
Music
a
by
lot.
Basil Polidorius.
Yep.
Oh man.
The music is pretty legit in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Man.
I absolutely love these movies. And I mean the ratings are terrible on like Rotten Tomatoes and things. I don't care. They're they're fantastic.
Actually, look, critical response on this is actually not that bad.
Oh wait.
Yeah. Modern reviewers review it more positively.
Yeah, and it's 70%. 70%. So that's
not bad.
Great.
I really like it too, just the scale, because I mean it was made at a time where they did have some like animated effects, but for the most part they had to build everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they specifically say here that they sort of issued like optical effects, doing mechanical constructs and optical illusions. Like,
and also Schwarzenegger had two swords costing $10,000 each.
Really?
Dang.
Both and he performed most of his own stunts, which to me is okay.
I do think at some point I can actually get a replica of one of these swords. Actually, any of the swords. The Father's sword, the Atlantean sword, and Valeria's sword.
Man.
And I really do want the Atlantean sword.
The Atlantean sword is probably my favorite, but I saw a guy on YouTube, Brother Bonsai. He did a build where he made Father's sword from scratch.
Yeah.
Literally. He did the wax casting.
I do like sort of the antler handguard, and I'm glad they did pick that for the new Conan with Jason Momoa.
Yep.
It is a cool sword.
Yep.
Well,
also, if anyone wants to try and make a sword, I won't say you can't pour steel and make a sword out of it, because cultures have done it. Crucible steel swords do exist, but for the most part, you generally don't pour steel into a mold to make a sword. That's more of a bronze thing.
Well, yeah. That's the casting like that, bronze casting, and several other mixes that you can do, like some nickel mixes. I hear pretty good with that. But in terms of like molding out a sword, like a sword blade like that out of steel, from what I hear, it's mostly just taking the raw steel and, depending on what style you do, you either, you fold it over so many times.
I feel like pouring it, you've got way more chance of a fault in the crystalline structure.
Well, essentially, steel's an iron alloy, so you have to have carbon in it if you're going to harden it properly. And pretty much, unless you have a highly refined process, you're not going to have an appropriate amount of carbon for a hardenable sword blade. If you're just like, now there have been some crucible steels where they will. Actually, some Vikings had crucible steel, the Ulfbert swords, and also what they call Damascus steel. Damascus steel was actually crucible steel. And it's just sort of really just kind of an happy accident of like the geography itself. that they discovered. Typically steel was always once they smelted it, they had to refine it, usually by folding it over on itself to get impurities out. But now bronze you cast all day long and just either file or sand or use some kind of abrasive on the edge or hammer out the edge to harden it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they actually behave completely opposite. If you water quench any copper alloy like bronze, it will actually anneal it and return it to kind of its original state. But if you water quench iron, it will harden it. So like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Well, the way you talked about quenching with water is that you were going to pretty much put enough salt in it to float an egg.
Yeah, like a brine quench. That's just, it takes less stress. Because my interest is like Japanese style swords. Which is, you're really running the risk of just breaking your sword when you quench it because it is so stressful because you're differentially hardening it instead of just doing a through quench.
Well,
or through hardening.
The way the sword is built, because we saw on Man at Arms when they did the katana, the intricacy that went into it that way. Ilya really, took his time with it.
Most of the Japanese swords, they were forged straight. The curve comes from the quench. That's how much stress is being put on these things.
Oh, okay.
Which is tremendous.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because you're talking about a matter of seconds. I mean, it's essentially reshaping itself.
Yeah.
When it cools down really quickly.
Yeah. You consider the resources that Japan had. They were an isolated island with not much iron on their island.
Yeah, basically it came from iron-bearing sand is where they got most of their stuff. From.
And I saw an old forge. It was a long time ago. An old style forge. They poured in the sand, and eventually a bloom would come out. Eventually, a bloom would form near the bottom of it, and then they would break it out, and then they would break it down. The soft steel and the rigid steel, and then they would compile it that way. That's what I saw, and I wonder how much time and effort was put into the original forging. Of a sword.
It's insane. Yeah. It's literally. I mean, it would take months just to make a blade.
Yeah, and then when you make that blade, you find it's too flimsy, or the crystalline structure isn't solid enough.
Well, once they understood, that you could create an iron alloy that you could harden that way. I mean, it was.
Well, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I mean, just because once you understood that process was possible, you never wasted any of it. And that's originally how smithing kind of existed, because now steel's pretty plentiful. But back in the day, it was so precious that nobody would actually be able to use it and handle it unless they absolutely knew what they were doing and wouldn't waste any of it.
Yeah, I get that, and it's the tech. It's kind of like how the discovery of the filament that was put in the original incandescent light bulb. Once you find the way that works.
Really, even just like plain iron weaponry was still far superior to the copper and bronze that they had been using.
Yeah,
I mean, so really, once they understood iron, and then at some point somebody started noticing that certain ways that you treated it would come out with better results, and
I mean, and that's science in a nutshell.
Pretty much just trial and error, and just rational observation.
It down.
Rational observation of certain things, and
I like that we went from Conan the Barbarian to swordsmithing.
The movies
so good.
This movie starts out with the making of the sword, and they kept that motif with the next one. That their culture kind of centered around the sword, and a lot of the moves they had him do are more akin to like almost a Japanese sword style than like a European sword style.
European sword style was, let's see, it. I'm not sure if the triangle defense is that's actually more with rapiers.
Yes.
the European sword style of fighting, not as flashy, not as flashy in a lot of regards. It's more it's more angular. It's more basic angular attacks. From what I understand, you attack from certain angles, and no high risk move. Not really high risk movements either.
I can't comment. I really don't know anything about European swordsmanship.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, you look at like Braveheart, which is the big ass claymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, the claymore wasn't so much think of the claymore less as a sword and more like a crowbar.
True.
The claymore was something that you just dropped on somebody and let the weight do the work. They weren't even really that sharp.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, you never had. I mean, even like the like German Zweihander swords, you never had a sword that was over 6 pounds, and we're talking about a sword that was over 6 feet long.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Goodness. All right. Well, gosh,
from
where we went, dude.
I love tracing that because it's just like, man,
it's relevant. We're talking about swords.
We get into the most interesting conversations.
But the visual of actually like pouring the steel into the mold is super cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's sweet.
And at least they do show. I mean, presumably maybe it was some kind of crucible steel they had, and so then they kind of shape it afterwards with a hammer. It's possible.
Yeah.
Not likely.
Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily a very advanced society.
Right,
we're talking about here either.
and plus it's like fantasy iron, so whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably all kinds of good stuff in that just make great
It
swords when you pour it out.
Star metal and all of that.
Sure.
Meteorite metal.
Oh yeah.
Meteorite metals that are.
Well, I mean, meteoric iron is good stuff.
Well, there were some cultures that was their exclusive source for iron, because
iron from the sky, which, I mean, that's gonna seem super mystical.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
It is a gift from the gods.
Yeah.
Crom, you have delivered a good amount of steel.
There you go.
The riddle of steel will be solved thanks to you, Crom.
But yeah, I think I want to say in like some Polynesian cultures that like developed like steel daggers and stuff. Most of them were like ritualistic, but
yeah,
that was their only source of iron is meteorites.
I believe that Maori culture had some stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. I'm aware of like their shark tooth clubs and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah. And also their mere clubs, which were made out of this very hard sea stone that they carried into battle.
Because I'm pretty sure the Chris style daggers, and I can't remember what culture they came from, but I'm pretty sure their only source was meteoric iron.
That's sort of a Middle Eastern type culture, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought they were like. We'll look it up later.
Anyway.
Anyway,
we're giant nerds. We are giant nerds.
We are nerds. We are.
Well,
the nerds.
And this has just got me hyped for a D&D campaign.
Right.
I mean, like, it's going to have to happen. Like, we're going to do a one-shot, and it's just going to be
that would be
glorious.
super fun.
I want it.
I know Geek and Sundry, they do a lot of tabletop RPG stuff, and it's pretty successful.
If I can find the appropriate adventure, I will run it for you all.
Okay.
Like, if I can find a good one, something that's not overly challenging, but maybe something that's not necessarily level 1. Like, level 4 is a pretty good place because you don't have so much stuff to manage.
Okay.
But it's also not, like, bare bones. I hit it with my sword. You can do some fancier stuff.
Right.
So,
okay.
Gotcha.
We'll look into it.
We'll have to get into that.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to do it.
Let us know in the comments if you want to see us play a D&D campaign.
Absolutely.
Because because that's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah.
All right.
That is happening.
That being said, I think that's got it for this video.
I think that's going to do it.
So
how long?
34 minutes.
Thank you all for coming along with us. Please.
Video starts at 000.
Yes.
Yeah.
As always, check the description for our related content.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we will see you all very soon.
No.